As far as harassment and discrimination is concerned, what are the kind of broadly the laws that exist in Pakistan, and if you could also throw some light on whether these are civil laws or criminal laws, or are they a mix of both kinds? So yeah, over to you now, Aleena.
Thank you so much, Shivangi. It's a pleasure to be here and to be speaking about something which I consider is very important, of course. Um, and yeah, so just to give a sort of a overview of the legal regime in Pakistan in this regard. So I'll speak about harassment first. It is covered. So we have our criminal side of the law, which is covered in the Pakistan Penal Code of 1860. That includes, so there is a provision for sexual harassment of women, and this one is particularly only specifically for sexual harassment of women. And so this is section 509 of the Pakistan Penal Code. And basically how the criminal procedure would run is that if an incident occurs, you file a complaint with either the police, or there is also a route which you can take, which is filing a direct complaint with the court. So whichever lower court is dealing with this, has the jurisdiction to deal with this issue, you can file a direct complaint. Because of course one other challenge that comes around in places like Pakistan is that the non-cooperation of police sometimes is there as well. So that's just a brief background on the criminal law. And then in 2016, the penal code was also amended to add section 377A, which deals with sexual abuse of people who are under the age of 18. So that would mean minors and children. And so particularly, and in this case, the perpetrator can be, anyone. The It's called a person whoever the person who does commit an act like that. And then we have a workplace harassment law. It's called the Protection of Women at the Workplace, or Prevention of Harassment at Workplace, of 2010. um, it is, in the title it suggests that it's for the protection of women only, but again in 2021 the law was sort of overhauled, and it was amended to include all kinds of persons who can be affected by harassment in the workplace. And also the definition of a workplace, or the employment arrangement, was broadened to a great extent, because initially the scope of what constitutes as employment under this law was quite brief. So now it virtually covers any kind of arrangement that there might be going on. So it's a much bigger has a much bigger scope. And what this law does is, it's a civil law. So it provides a mechanism to, for example, like these bigger organizations or corporations, whereby they can have a committee. And if there is an incident that occurs, then the victim can, or somebody on behalf of the victim can file a complaint with that committee. And then there the whole procedure is given, how they should proceed with investigation, giving their order. They also have to give the chance of hearing to the other party involved in the incident. And similarly, if the organization doesn't have a mechanism, then there is an ombudsperson appointed as well for this. And you can file a complaint before the ombudsperson. And they also, then the law also provides the procedure to how they can deal with a complaint like this. And then lastly, we have the cybercrime law, which specifically deals with issues that are related to the online space, and provides particularly for stalking, for harassment, for sexual crimes, or abuse that may be going on uh, through the internet or any sort of electronic mode, basically. But of course largely covers the internet. And again, this is a criminal law, and all proceedings under it are done by the Federal Investigation Agency. which is an internal investigation agency. They have the same sort of police as the powers as the police. So that's how this process runs. And apologies, there's also one more law which covers harassment in respect of transgender persons. So the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act of 2018, it specifically provides that there shall be no harassment against transgender people. And so that's sort of like the broad overview of all the laws that we have where where harassment may be dealt with. And in terms of discrimination, so as I mentioned, the Transgender Persons Act also deals with discrimination, that there's a prohibition on any sort of discrimination against transgender people. And generally, for discrimination, the Constitution of Pakistan, Article 25 of the Constitution, provides that there shall be no discrimination against any person on the basis of their religion, their race, their gender, their ethnicity, and various other factors that may be involved. Um, and there is a lot of litigation in that regard as well. It comes up all the time, and the courts are very sort of activist in that regard. They look at where there may be discrimination happening, and then they strike it down on the basis of the of Article 25 of the Constitution. So that's the broad sort of picture in terms of discrimination and harassment of laws in Pakistan.